All right, this is Computer Science Discoveries, and we are in Lesson 7 of Unit 2. This is all about images. And what I want you to kind of look at in your journal now is I'm having you keep a running list of tags that we've used so far. So let's take a peek here. We started with the paragraph tag on about lesson 3, and you learned that in HTML, hitting enter all the time and putting in some returns does nothing in HTML. So using the paragraph tag will help separate pieces of text so that you don't have this all running together in one endless blob of text. Then in lesson 4, we started talking about headings. And we learned that the H1 heading, if you surround a bunch of text with this one, that sets it off as being the largest or the biggest heading. Bolds it, the font increases. H6 ends up being the smallest, and then you have the numbers in between, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then in lesson number 6, after we did some work in social media and learning about privacy, then we learned how to use the unordered list tag, which makes a bulleted list, the ordered list tag, which starts numbering items in a list, and the list tag is what you have to put in the front or surround every single item in your list to turn on either the bullet points or the numbers. So now we're getting into an area that's a little bit different. And how do we program or set up images, because you and your website are going to be using some pictures. They might be your own, they might be someone else's, and we have to learn how to code it. This is different from your other ones, okay? It's one big long tag, okay? We don't have a little beginning tag, opening tag, and then a closing one. It's one big long one. So we start with IMG. Then there's going to be a space here. Then you type SRC for source, put an equal sign, no space there, and then inside quotation marks, you are going to enter the file name. I can't spell. What you start to realize as you start working with more and more images is picture files usually have an extension at the end to tell you what kind of file type they are. And these are probably the most common ones you see. You might have heard of JPEGs. They may or may not have the E, or a PNG file. Now that things are getting a little more fun and animated, you might see GIF files and other video files as well. But for right now, we're going to focus in on just still frame pictures of some sort. Okay. Now, after this, there's more to come, because sometimes what you'll find is that we want to have a picture load, and you might get a weird logo, or it might be a box that you see it has some kind of X in there. And so we're going to build in some alternate text so that in case our picture doesn't load, we kind of have a backup that says, at least this is what the picture's supposed to be, so that if someone's using it and they don't see it, they can at least get in there or at least recognize what the picture was supposed to be. So after this quotation mark, type ALT, alternate, equal sign, and quotation marks again. And in here, you are just going to type in a word or a couple of words that describe what is your picture. What is it supposed to look like? And then we put that forward slash and the bracket to close this tag. So it starts with the bracket, IMG space SRC equal sign. In quotation marks, you put the file name. Then your list and alternate text in case the picture doesn't load, slash, and the bracket, okay? Now, in order to get familiar with this, what you're going to do is go into code.org. So let me pop there now and get to lesson 7. It's called Intellectual Property and Images. If you had me as your teacher, we've already done some work with Creative Commons and understanding what that licensure looks like. And so in this overview, these terms and this new tag should look kind of familiar. So as you move on and go to this first level where you're going to actually do some work, here's what we see. There is a web page that has been started for us here. Dogs versus cats. The dog image has already been added. We see it there. Okay. Look at the code that made that dog image appear. And if I use the inspector tool, okay, and I click on the picture, now over here it shows me that image tag. What we want to do is add after this, which gives the reference for the picture where we got it from. Then you see cats here. And now that's it. So what we want to do is get the cat picture in there. So what you're going to do, you'll get your cursor here, and I'm just going to put some returns so we have some space. But there is a cat picture that has been loaded. Okay, look over here. You probably haven't noticed in this left column that you have files here. And look, there's a picture of a cat. Okay, notice that extension, JPEG. Here was our dog picture that we already have programmed in there for you. And then here, any extension HTML, that's where you are putting in your code, okay? Because this is your preview page of what it would look like. So what you need to do here is start typing in image, space, source, and then you will, and let me get it right back here. Okay, so start with this bracket, IMG. You'll notice sometimes it starts autofilling for you. Source, then you put your equal sign, and look, sometimes it already puts it in here, so you can put it, just click on it and put it in there. But your job is to go in here and get that cat picture loaded. All right. After you do that, notice that it says it was found at Pixabay, was uploaded by this user. Okay. So typically what I'm going to ask you to do here, let's make a paragraph, and I'm going to say by, and then we'll say Alexis _ photos on Pixabay. And then say free for commercial use. I'll get a little more particular as to how I want you to cite things that are free. And you're saying, why is all that code pink? Well, that's because I didn't put that actual cat picture in there. You're going to do that. But I want to make sure and highlight this information about, make sure you also give credit for where that picture came from. When you get done with 2, take a look at what's going on in level number 3. Okay, in level number 3, look what happens here. Oh, darn, none of these pictures loaded. I see them all here. Here's the picture that's of the blue with the trees with frost. There's my green grass. Here's the red sunset. But when I get to my HTML file, something is wrong. Your job is to make sure that you fix all of these image tags so that all of these pictures load. And again, when you get done with that, you can hit finish and move on to level number 4. In level number 4, what you're going to do here, let me get here. Cha-ching. You are going to see a matching thing, and the type is really little. So if you need to increase the size of your screen so you can see these, but go ahead and match up. For example, the SRC attribute is spelled incorrectly. So you have to find where the SRC attribute is and see where it's misspelled. Load all those in, match them up until you get them all correct. Hit submit. When you get to level number 5, it should bring forward whatever you had before, and you should have your cat picture in there. Mine's not showing up because I didn't do it for you. Okay. But then it says you can upload images that you have gotten from other sources by adding an image into code.org. So basically, we're going to have to go out and it wants us to find the image of a different type of pet that we like and download it in our computer. So wherever you want to go. Now, most of you are probably going to go to Google. You can go to Pixabay or Pexels or Creative Commons itself, Wikimedia Commons, any of those sites that we've been practicing looking at pictures, Flickr, for example. But then I also want you to make sure you're paying attention to where you got it from. Let's say I go to Google and I want, because I'm a dog person, so I'm just going to type in puppy. So I'm going to go to images. Now, if you're on Google, though, a lot of these pictures are not necessarily have been given permission for others to use through a Creative Commons license. So for our purposes, I'm going to ask you to go up here, click on Tools. Then under Usage Rights, let's choose the labeled for non-commercial reuse. And what this is going to do is give us a ton of pictures and let us go ahead and find them. Like I'm going to pick this cute little lab or retriever puppy, okay, which I see is on Flickr. And when I go to save it, okay, and it gives me the author name, it gives me the Creative Commons licensing information. So we would put that in under there. And basically what you're going to do is when you have this picture, you need to save it on your computer. Oh, I'm just messing things up, sorry. So tell it you want to save the image as, and when you get here, will you make sure that it is saving it as a JPEG or a PNG or a type of file that specifically is one of these accepted extensions so that it'll work. So let's say this looks good. I'm not even going to bother changing the name. Okay, so now notice it's not here yet. I have to add the image, upload it from my downloads. So I've got to get into my downloads here and find wherever my puppy picture went. And I got to see where that is. I can't find it at the moment because I have way too much junk. So I'm just going to pick this frog picture. Okay. And now what's going to happen is you're going to see that picture's in my list. Okay. Now, when you look here and you're like, what? Where did all my stuff go? Remember that all of your files over here are being added as you add pictures and things. And when you want to get back to your coding, you got to get to the HTML file. Now, come in here. And now if I want to add my new picture, and maybe I want to put a heading here of like other pets to make this look consistent because they had dogs and cats. So maybe you want to put in here another H3 heading to match and say other pets or something like that. I'll get my H3 heading in there. And now, you know, when I scroll, haha, I see it's there. Then if I want to put my image in, and I get my equal sign, look at that comes right there. So I don't have to rekey all of that. My alternate text is going to just be frog. And then I'm going to close out that particular picture. Now what should happen as I refresh and save this, oh, there it is. He's giant. Yikes. I'll tell you how to fix that in a second. I would like you to get in the habit of sourcing and giving a credit for where this picture came from. So remember, it was a CCBY, or actually this is a different picture, so never mind. But make sure that you put in the proper sourcing for your photos when you get there and finish through that level. Now, I'm going to show you one other tip, okay? I got this picture in here, and oh my stars, it's gigantic. It doesn't look right compared to the rest. So here's what you can do. Go back into your image tag, and in between the ending quotation mark and the / to close out this tag, type the word width equals, and then we're going to assign a number. Let's just pick 300 to start. It's measuring, I believe, in pixels as far as how big that is. Let's see how big the frog. Oh, that looks much better. You can play around with that number a little bit to shrink or expand the size of your picture just to make it look a little better so it's not overtaking your screen. Okay, get through at least level 5 and show me your progress when you get it done. And as always, good luck. May the force be with you.